Anastasia Beverly Hills, my prince. I bet my neighbors think I'm absolutely insane. They're right there. Like, they can see me through that window. Right there. Hi. Hi everybody, today we are talking about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance Eye Palette, and I am so excited because it's so pretty. I received this the other day. I ordered it on Macy's. I believe it is $42 for this palette, and I can't wait to get into it and show it to you guys. I've already used it once today on my eyes. It's quite vibrant and I absolutely love it, so I'm really excited to show you all. It has this beautiful pink dusty rose suede velvet feel on the outside with the letters set in and a very pretty like rose gold Anastasia Beverly Hills insignia on the front, and I think it's beautiful. I just can't stop just touching all over. It's really hard to stop. I was a bit afraid when I got the package because it was just an envelope and I was like, not another envelope, no! And I opened it up and like the corner was smushed in, and I took it out of the package and like this corner was kind of smushed in too. I've straightened it out since I've gotten it, and I could see like little dots of fallout, and I was like, no, no, not again. I can't handle it, not again. But I opened it up and it was beautiful and perfect and intact, and I was so excited. There was a little bit of fallout, but no big deal, and I was just elated that it wasn't broken. The palette comes with a nice long mirror up here, which still has the Anastasia little sticker on it that I'm going to pop off, and it does come with a double-ended brush. This side is really, really soft. That's the side I used mainly today for the pink, you can obviously tell. And this side's a little bit more fluffy, not as soft, but it still works pretty nicely. In this palette, we have 14 beautiful shades inspired by the Renaissance, and I think that's really cool. I was going to have an art history minor, but I already had 2 other minors, and it was just too much work. I really enjoyed it though. It was really cool learning about different things in art, and I think that's really awesome that this is inspired by that. Starting off here, we have the lightest shade in the palette, which is Tempera. Next to it, we have Golden Ochre, Vermeer, Buono Fresco, Antique Bronze, Love Letter, Cypress Umber, Raw Sienna, Burnt Orange, Primavera, Red Ochre, Venetian Red, Warm Taupe, and Realgar. This palette is a mixture of shimmers and mattes. I think there's a good balance between the two. There's not too many mattes, not too many shimmers, and it's absolutely beautiful. This is amazing for fall. Fall is coming up, thankfully. It's my favorite time of year. I love these types of warm, rich colors. They're my absolute favorite to wear on my body and on my face. So I'm very excited that fall is coming up, and this is going to be absolutely perfect for it. Today we're going to be doing finger swatches and brush swatches, just so you guys can see the difference between finger and brush. I think it's a little bit different using a brush versus your finger. You definitely pick up more pigment with your finger, so maybe it's a little bit misleading if you just see a finger swatch. So we're going to start off down here with Tempera, and I'm really excited to show you guys. Okay, here we have Tempera. On this side we have the finger swatch, and this side is the brush swatch. I think they're both very pigmented, and they go on so smooth, so evenly, and they're very buttery. It's a beautiful shade for all over the lid, or a transition, or under the brow bone. I think it's really pretty. I like it. Next up, we have Golden Ochre. Again, over here we have the finger swatch, and here we have the brush swatch. I think they apply pretty much evenly with both the finger and the brush. This one isn't super pigmented. I think I went over it twice actually with my finger, but it's still a very pretty color, kind of like a mustardy yellow, and I think it would be gorgeous for the fall. Next up, we have Vermeer, and here is the finger swatch, and here is the brush swatch. You can definitely tell a difference with this one. The finger swatch is super pigmented and the brush swatch is just a little bit more iridescent. This is the first shimmer shade that we are testing out in this palette, but I still think it's very pretty. Perhaps maybe if you did just use your finger and just dab it across the lid, that might be the best payoff for the color. For the brush swatches, I am just using the brush that came with the palette and cleaning it out in between each swatch. Next up, we have Buon Fresco, which I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but this is another beautiful matte shade. Here we have the finger swatch, and here we have the brush swatch, and they look very similar. Pigmentation is great on both of them. I'm wearing that as a transition color today, and I blended it down into my lid color, and I really like it. It's just this beautiful purpley color, and I think it'll go great with most of these shadows. Next up, we have Antique Bronze with the finger swatch and the brush swatch. I will say with this one, perhaps it's this brush, because it is not the softest brush in the world. It does create a lot of fallout, and you lose a lot of that beautiful iridescent like copper that you get with the finger swatch when you use a brush. Perhaps if I tried maybe a different like softer brush, or maybe the same thing with the Vermeer, if you just used your finger across your lid, that might work out better so you don't lose that iridescence. But other than that, I think it's really pretty. Okay, next up we have Love Letter, and this one is probably my favorite in the entire palette. It is what I'm wearing all over my lid today, blended up into the crease, and it is this gorgeous plum matte color. This is the finger swatch, this is the brush swatch, and again with this one, when I dabbed the brush into the pan, a lot of fallout came out, and I really think that might have something to do with this brush. I might switch over to this softer, smaller end for the rest of the swatches so you guys are getting a good idea of really what they look like, because I think this brush on this end is just too stiff for this soft of a powder. But this is Love Letter, and it is beautiful. Next up we have Cypress Umber. Here is the finger swatch, and here is the brush swatch. I did switch over to the smaller brush, but I did experience a lot of fallout still, maybe not as much as the stiffer brush, but still a decent amount. But you can really blend it in, and I think this is a beautiful, rich cocoa color. Brown. It's a beautiful, rich brown color. Next up we have Raw Sienna. Here is the finger swatch, and here is the brush swatch. It is a beautiful, more like deep golden color. It's very pigmented and feels amazing when you just like rub your finger in the pan. Very buttery and smooth, and I really like it. Next up we have Burnt Orange, which looks kind of similar to Raw Sienna, but there is a more orangey, peachy tone to it. I kind of expected Burnt Orange to be a little bit more vibrant, maybe a little bit more red, but it is still a beautiful, highly pigmented color. Again, we have finger swatch and brush swatch, and they look very similar, so you're going to get that same amount of pigmentation using a brush as you would your finger. It is a gorgeous matte shade, and I think it would be beautiful in the crease. Next up, we have Primavera, and we switched hands because I was lazy and didn't want to go wash this one. So this is the finger swatch, and this over here is the brush swatch. I think this is one of those that you probably need to dab on like the lid with your finger, because you do lose a lot of that beautiful pigmentation and that iridescent sheen when you use a brush, but it is still gorgeous both ways. I really like it. Next up we have Red Ochre. This is the finger swatch, this is the brush swatch, and this is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. It's not as vibrant of a red as I thought it might be seeing it in the pan, but it is a beautiful like red clay looking eyeshadow. It's so matte and the pigmentation is fantastic. I think this is an absolutely beautiful shade. Next up we have Venetian Red. This is the finger swatch, this is the brush swatch, and this is such an interesting color. It might be kind of hard to see on camera, but there is this like purple iridescence to it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorites in the palette. And in the palette itself, I'm going to try not to dirty the palette way too much. In the palette itself, it looks very similar to Love Letter here, but there are differences. I'll go ahead and put a swatch of Love Letter again just next to these, just so you can see a little bit of how they're different. I'll do a finger swatch, and I'll do a brush swatch. So here are the two together. This right here is the Venetian Red, and this is Love Letter. Venetian Red definitely has more of those red clay undertones, and Love Letter definitely has more of those purpley pink plum undertones, so that's the difference between those two. Next up we have Warm Taupe, and this is the finger swatch, and this is the brush swatch. There's a definite difference in pigmentation, but I really didn't want to go too heavy with the brush because there was still some pink residue left over on it, so I didn't want that to mess up the color. This is a beautiful color. I think it would look fantastic in the crease, and if I'm not like mistaken, I might be kind of crazy, but I think there's like a slight hint of like a blue iridescence here in this finger swatch one. I don't know if that's like just me being crazy, but I can definitely see like just a slight blue shift when I move it into the light. Either way, it is a beautiful shade, and I think it looks fantastic in this palette. I think this palette needed something like this. And last up we have Realgar. This is kind of what I was thinking about when I saw Burnt Orange in the palette. I thought it would be more this color, because to me this is a burnt orange. But this is really beautiful. Over here we have the finger swatch, and here we have the brush swatch, and I think it's a beautiful shade. I love to have that like orange in this palette for fall. I think that's a great addition. I'll show it to you next to Red Ochre just to show the difference, because there is a definite difference. This one's definitely deeper and has more of a red tone, and this one does have more of like a terracotta orange tone to it. I think they're both beautiful, and I think they both deserve a place in this palette. Alright everybody, that is the entire Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance eye palette. I tried to wash it off, but there's definitely some pink stains left in my fingers. I'm excited to see what my eyelids are going to look like tonight after I try to wash all of this off. I think this is a gorgeous palette. So for 14 shades in this palette, it is $42. I think that's a pretty good deal. I wish I was better at math. I could tell you guys individually how much it is like per shadow in here. Someone who's smarter than me, please tell me, how much do each of these individual eyeshadows cost? If there's 14 of them and the whole thing costs $42. Plus you do get a nice brush, and this mirror is really nice, and then you get this gorgeous palette. So I think it's a really fantastic deal. I don't have anything like these shades over here, especially in my eyeshadow collection, and I'm really excited to have them. I can't wait to create more like vibrant fall toned eyeshadow looks, and I'm really excited to have this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe. I have a lot of things coming my way. I have subscription bags and things I've ordered online, and like little like stuff from Etsy, things like that, so I don't want you guys to miss out on any of that. Something should be coming in the mail for me like any second now, and I'm really excited to like run to the door and go see if it's there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! It's so pretty!